Professor Jigoro Kano used to emphasize the importance of kata and randori in judo training. After founding Kodokan in 1882, he spent the next 5 years establishing such forms as Nage-no-Kata and Ju-no-Kata. The exercises in Ju-no-Kata are designed to enable you to learn how to manage the body in attack and defense situations and how to employ your strength effectively. Since the movements are gentle, they help foster an understanding of the principles of attack and defense. Since the forms incorporate a variety of movements, such as bending, stretching, and twisting, they're very effective for conditioning and developing the entire body, and are therefore an effective form of physical education. Another good point is that they can be practiced by both men and women, young and old, without having to wear special gear. Ju-no-Kata consists of 15 techniques which are arranged in 3 sets. Set 1 consists of tsukidashi, kata-oshi, ryōte-dori, kata-mawashi, and ago-oshi. Set 2, kiri-oroshi, ryō-kata-oshi, naname-uchi, kata-de-dori, and kata-te-age. And set 3, obi-tori, mune-oshi, tsuki-age, uchi-oroshi, and ryogan-tsuki. The 15 techniques are all initiated by the uke or receiver. First, let's see how the kata is begun. The tori and the uke face each other. The tori is on the right and the uke on the left facing shomen. You turn and make a bow to the shomen, then face each other and bow again. At the same time, you step forward with your left foot and assume the basic natural posture. Set 1, tsukidashi, hand thrusting. This is what the tori does when the uke aims at the uto, the point between the eyebrows, and grabs his wrists. The uke raises his right arm and moves forward, fingers extended and held together. On his third step, he aims at the uto, the point between the eyebrows. Dodge the blow and take the uke's right wrist, then lean back, pulling him with you. The uke drops his left shoulder and twists his body around to pull you backward. You then drop your right shoulder and twist your body to take hold of his wrists. Pull his arms back and step back to break his balance. Let's take a closer look at how the uke renews his grip on the tori's wrists. Notice the uke's left hand. His thumb is facing upwards. And now the feet. The uke is towards you. Standing on the left is the tori, who shifts his left foot to where his right foot was and faces the front. In order to break the uke's balance, you have to pull his arms out and back. This shows how the uke advances with one foot leading, the other following. And this is how to grab his right wrist with your thumb under. The uke raises the heel of his pivoting foot and brings his other foot up. Here, the uke's fingers are not together and the action isn't smooth. This is the correct way to aim at the uto, the point between the tori's eyes. This is not the way the tori should grab hold of the uke's wrist. This is how it should be done, with the thumb under. And now from tsukidashi to kataoshi or shoulder push. Kataoshi shows how the uke pushes the tori's shoulder with one hand and how the tori responds. The main points are the angle at which the tori bends forward and how he controls the uke's right hand. The tori bends forward as the uke pushes his right shoulder. You then move backward, starting with your right foot, and grab the uke's right hand and pull him up and back to break his balance. The tori grabs the little finger side of the uke's right hand. This shows the uke aiming for the uto, the point between the eyebrows. He positions his left hand against his hip and strikes. The tori grabs the little finger side of the uke's left hand and pulls both hands up and back. Watch again. When the uke has been fully controlled, he draws one of his feet back to signal defeat. The tori is bending his knees as he bends forward. He should bend at the hips and not the knees. And now from kataoshi to ryotedori or seizure of both hands. Ryotedori shows how to break your partner's hold and throw him when he grabs both your wrists. Pull your hands back and step slightly back with your left foot to break his balance. Then load him onto your hip and lift him. Notice the timing and the way the tori breaks the uke's balance and goes into nagewaza. The uke arches his body and brings both legs together. The main point in breaking the uke's balance is for you to pull with your left hand as you step back with your left leg. Restrain the uke by trapping his right arm in your armpit. Make sure not to grab his judogi. This is how to signal defeat. Moving on now from ryotedori to 肩回し or shoulder turn. Kata mawashi shows how the uke uses his strength to turn the tori's body towards him. It also demonstrates the principles which allow the tori to execute a seoi-nage. Notice the tori's body control and the use of his left hand. In order to throw the uke over his right shoulder in a migi ippon seoi-nage, the tori puts his right shoulder in the uke's right armpit and places his right hand on the uke's right shoulder. Look at the way the uke turns the tori's shoulders and how the tori uses his hands to respond. Take note of the tori's left hand. The tori has failed to put his right shoulder in the uke's armpit. The right shoulder has to come right under the armpit in order to execute a seoi-nage properly. From kata mawashi, we now move on to ago oshi or jaw push. Ago oshi shows what to do when the uke pushes your jaw from the side and attempts to strike you between the eyebrows or uto. It's important to turn your body after grabbing the uke's right hand and after evading the uke's strike at the uto. The uke moves forward, raising his right arm, fingers together and extended. On his third step, he tries to push the side of your jaw. This is how to restrain the uke when he attempts to strike your uto. Pull his arms up and then bring his hands down to his shoulders and break his balance to the rear. This is how to restrain the uke's right hand. The uke strikes at the uto with his fingers extended and together. The tori catches the uke's hand from the top so that his thumb is pressed against the uke's palm. And now from ago oshi to the first technique in set 2, kiri oroshi or downward cut. Kiri oroshi shows how the uke aims to strike the top of the tori's head with a downward cut and how the tori retaliates. The left-hand side of the uke's body is turned towards you. From this position, he raises his right hand and attempts to strike the top of your head with the knife edge of his hand. Notice how the tori pivots to the left on his left foot. This is how the tori controls the uke's hand sword. Avoid the cut by pulling in your jaw and bending back. When the uke's hand sword is at stomach level, take his wrist from above. Notice how the tori grabs the uke's right hand and then the left. The tori reaches under his right arm and grabs the uke's left hand. The uke misses striking the top of the tori's head because he's bending over. The downward cut must be delivered with the back straight. Moving on now from kiri oroshi to ryo kata oshi or two shoulder push.